Oh, you're fine. Okay, I think it's working and we're just,
We're just live.
that's what happens. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so welcome to those of you watching or those that might watch later. Today, I get to sit down with someone who truly knows what it means to mix family, business, and community. She's one half of the Mau team, the powerhouse father-daughter duo, serving the Benicia and the greater Bay Area. So not only has she been selling homes with her dad for the past 8 years, but she also brings her husband into the mix, and he is a lender.
Yeah.
So we're excited to hear more about her journey and just kind of what she does in the Bay Area. And it's kind of a family affair for her. So she is opening a brand new Keller Williams office in Benicia to offer, and she also offers her clients a free moving truck. So that's awesome. That's one of the perks when you work with her, you get to move for free. And she has her face on it, so you can't miss her.
No, you
And she's all about making the process fun, smooth, memorable. And she also gives back in a huge way. And so that really speaks to us because we are on the same wavelength as far as that goes. And she recently hosted their first Walk for Water fundraiser with over 250 people. And she raised enough money for 8 clean water wells around the world. So please welcome the amazing Rachel Mau.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that we could do this. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so fun. We're gonna do a quick check, everybody, to make sure that we're working well because I keep getting a weird error.
Okay.
Um, so we're just gonna keep, I guess, keep rolling, but
Or
hopefully
maybe
we're.
just hit record and then worst case scenario it can just get posted later.
Mhm. Yeah, it's true. Okay. Okay. So Rachel's gonna tell us about the Bay Area and kind of share with us some insider secrets, things that clients might want to know if they're moving to Bay Area, or maybe you're just planning on visiting the Bay Area. I personally grew up on the Central Coast in the Monterey area, have family in the Walnut Creek area, a really good friend in the Fairfield area. And then I was just dancing to Mac Dre last weekend with
I
some
love
girlfriends
that.
in
I
Tahoe,
love that.
reliving our high school days. So
Yes.
that was my experience with the Bay Area, but Rachel has a lot of things she can share. So I guess we'll just start off with maybe tell me a little bit about the biggest city nearby. I know you're in Benicia,
Yeah.
so where are you closest to?
Yeah, so Benicia is a population of like 27,000. We're a small town here and we're a water town. So our town surrounds the Carquinez Strait. So we have lots of beautiful homes with water views. But next to us, I think the biggest city that people know of is Vallejo. Vallejo is about 130, no, it's 130. I think it's about 130,000 people or so. So bigger, and they're like the equivalent of Concord. So Concord in the Contra Costa side and Vallejo on the Solano County side. So we're smack dab in the middle. What's really cool about Benicia is, like I said, we're a waterfront community, so we only have a couple exits in and out of town. So we really do have that small town feel. But within 20 minutes, you can be in Napa. In 20 minutes, you can be in Contra Costa in the Concord, Walnut Creek area. In 20 to 30 minutes, you can be in Oakland on your way to the city. So we really are like this perfect little central location for a lot of other Bay Area cities and towns, which makes us really attractive to a lot of people. People think of Vallejo. I do serve the Vallejo area. My niche is Benicia. I live here in Benicia. I love Benicia. And me and my father have had a real estate team here for the last 8 years, but my dad's been a real estate broker for over 40 and originally grew up in the Contra Costa area and then moved over to Benicia. So I joined him 8 years ago, but really it all kind of started. I was in the healthcare industry for 10 years and started a hospice business down in San Diego. That's where I was living for many years. And then my mom got cancer and I decided to come home and help take care of her while she was going through some treatment and we were kind of figuring out everything. And after a year of being home, I saw my dad. He was just on fire in his career, but he was struggling because he didn't have any support people. And you're a solo agent, right?
I do have a team now
Oh, you have
that
a
started.
team now, but you were
Yeah,
solo for a long time,
yeah,
though, right? So,
yeah,
so like when you don't have any support, like it's
yeah.
very hard to be in this industry and talk about 0 days off. So I saw my dad was struggling, so I just said, you know what, I think I could do that. I think I could sell real estate. And he was like, oh yeah, I bet you couldn't pass the test. So he knew exactly what he needed to do in order to get me fired up. So I ended up going back home, studying for a few months, and then came and flew back for Thanksgiving. And I showed up on Thanksgiving Day with my license in hand. I was like, got my license. So he kind of like handed me the first few deals and helped me get my feet wet. And we quickly grew to a top producing team. We were with Remax for many of those years, and then the last couple years we swapped over to Keller Williams, and we have now been a top producing team. We had other people that were on our team, but we've kind of restructured because we're launching the Benicia Business Center, which is really, really awesome. We've been part of the Vacaville, Fairfield offices for the last 2 years, and finally are branching out and opening this Benicia office. So by the end of the month, it'll be launched and we'll be opening our doors for any agents that want to join us. So we're really, really excited about that. But Benicia specifically is, I mean, it's so small of a town that you don't want to move here if you don't want to ever run into someone at the grocery store, because you absolutely will. And I hated that growing up. I was like, get me out of here. Like everyone's all in my business and knows all my stuff. And as a, like as a teenager who you want as
Yeah.
much secrecy and privacy, right? So when I moved away, I didn't realize how much I appreciated that small town feel. And I moved back here, and now I'm married. I have a family here. We own a house here in Benicia. So Benicia is very special to me. And my roots are deep here. So yeah. What else do you want to know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like you've really, yeah, opening the office, a business center, that's huge.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know, if I were to come visit Benicia, what would be the must try restaurant? And I'm a big foodie. I love to bake and
Oh,
just cook and really love good food. So what would be the
okay.
restaurant I got to try?
So this year I actually started something called What the Fork, and I go into all the local businesses. So First Street in Benicia is really like our main hub. So it's a mile long. It's got like 30 plus bars and restaurants on this mile long strip, and that is like the key place. When you think of Benicia, you think First Street, because that is really the center of our town. There's a couple other little shopping centers that have grocery stores and shops and that kind of thing, but First Street is our main hub. And so I was like, you know what? So many of these restaurants, I've lived here my whole life. There's a couple restaurants I haven't even been to, or like I don't even know really what's on their menu outside of just like, skimming it and kind of popping in here and there. But I didn't really like get to know any of these business owners or really know where they came from and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where this all got started, where I said, I'm going to go into all of these different restaurants and I am going to order one of everything off of their menu. And not that I am a food critic. I see food and I eat it. I love food. So I'm just like you. I'm a total foodie. But I was like, I will go and just support local. I'll go and give them one heck of a check for the day. And I'll also be able to promote their business. And I hire a professional videographer and photographer that comes in and does a whole series with me, and we order one of everything. So this is like the perfect question for me, because I can tell you all of the restaurants and all the things to eat. But if you are going to come into town, hands down, if you have to go and check out Rags Coffee Shop. So Rags is amazing. They have a specialty coffee there. They brew in house. They've got this awesome machine in the middle. You can get all of their different coffees there from their coffee wall. But they're a small mom and pop, and they've been here for several decades. They have really great food. I didn't even realize, because I always think of them as like coffee and like, pastries and donuts and things. But they have some amazing sandwiches. They have a really great lox bagel that is just to die for. But also we have the Cafe at the Inn, which is a newer restaurant the last few years. So the Inn is actually a bed and breakfast. It's right off the beaten path of First Street, and it's super quaint, very, very cute. It's got some historic roots. I think it was like a general's house or something back in the day. And the Cafe at the Inn is attached to that. So they're the ones that provide the breakfast for the bed and breakfast. But they have phenomenal food. Their chef Kyle that is there, he has a garden that he goes out and like picks stuff from, and he goes out to the local farmers markets, and his menu is changing, but has some staples that are there all the time, and they're breaking into dinner. They have live music on the weekends, usually like Thursdays they have jazz. So they have phenomenal food. I am obsessed with, they have a seasonal salad there that's like loaded with like burrata and different fruits and tomatoes, and I get a grilled salmon on top. It's literally perfect. Um, and then we actually have the famous One House Bakery here. So One House Bakery, the owner, she came from Bouchon, and so when you talk about baked goods, literally it's like going into Napa and like going to French Laundry or something like that. Like she has won many awards. She's in all the magazines. Like it's really incredible restaurant. So not just baked goods though, they have really great breakfast and lunch items, and they even sometimes do some dinner stuff. So that's a really fabulous place to eat. Those I think are like my top three, but then we also have Bella Siena, which is a great Italian restaurant, and they're at the end of First Street, and they have a gorgeous water views. And so I mean, like you can't get a better location spot to sit and have really great dinner or lunch. But then one of my last and least favorites is Baxter's. So Baxter's is a super cute little hole in the wall, but when you walk in, they've got chandeliers and it seems very bougie and fancy. But if you go through this little curtain, they have a speakeasy. I think it only holds maybe 8 people or so. And they've got a big whiskey bar and they've got hundreds of whiskeys. They make their own like duck fat bourbon. They just have some really unique stuff in there, but their food is amazing. So yes. So food, we
Wow.
actually have some really great for being a really tiny town. We've got some really great food. I mean, those are just a handful of a laundry list of really fabulous places to eat.
Yeah, I love that. I made notes. It sounds like a great like getaway, like honeymoon weekend or the
I
anniversary
mean,
week for
it,
South. Like
yeah,
listen to
I
that
would come.
music, go to the coffee shop, check out the baked goods, go have dinner over the water,
Yeah.
end at Baxter's.
Yes. And Benicia, it doesn't have like a crazy nightlife scene. But Benicia does have the Relic, which is a little like a nighttime bar, and they've got a small menu, but they do live bands and they have DJs and things on the weekends. And Luca's Bar and Grill is infamous and known for all of their bands. They have a really cool giant tent out back, and so Thursdays, usually all the way through the weekends, they have live bands. They actually were an intricate part of Porch Fest. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Porch Fest. Porch Fest actually started out in Napa, and this was just a couple weeks ago that we had it. But it's where they, on all the vintage porches in downtown Napa, they would have a different band. So it was like one whole day that was free to the community, and you just got to go and watch these amazing bands on people's porches. Well, it actually moved over to Benicia. This was the second year that Benicia hosted, and it was fantastic. And Luca had some huge headliners in the back, and so it's a free community event. So they bring, I don't even want to tell you how much money was spent on bringing these giant bands and well-known names to town. But they do that for the community, and their sponsors that like helped put this on. But it was such a fabulous event. So that's something, if you ever are coming to Benicia, look for the summertime for Porch Fest or our Oktoberfest. That was just 2 weekends ago. I was the MC for that. So that was really fun. But yeah, our Oktoberfest is a huge, huge event. So we have a big turnout for that. And we have like the ceremonial tapping of the keg, and it's a really big deal on our waterfront, and it's really a fun time.
Well, it sounds like a great place to live. So let's kind of shift then and talk about the housing market there. So when we have people, a lot of times people are moving from the Bay to Sacramento because it is more affordable here.
Right.
What can somebody get there for, 800,000? What kind of a home and
Yeah.
because I know it is pricier there.
Well, so actually that's our average price point here in Benicia is
Okay.
like 870 or so is the average. Um you can find a nice 3 bedroom, 2 bath so the way Benicia's broken up is we have really beautiful multi-million dollar homes on the waterfront, and mixed in between is like small little bungalows that also have the same panoramic view, that are obviously half the price because they're not these giant mega mansions. So we have this kind of interesting on the west side of town. That's usually kind of like our little bit more upscale priced homes. And then on the east side of town, it's some of our older neighborhoods, and you can still find some homes over there for like high sixes to 800 range. And then you obviously have scattered throughout some $1 million homes. But 800,000, I've got a listing right now at 899,000, and they're going to be dropping the price to like 850, 875. So this is the perfect home to give as an example. It's up in our hills of Benicia, and it's a little under 3,000 square feet. It's a good size home. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. It's got an ensuite downstairs. It's got 2 living rooms, 1 family room, and then a giant like family playroom upstairs. It's got a pool in the backyard, gorgeous redwoods, and it open in the back has a bunch of open space. So that is what you can buy here in Benicia for like 850 to 900. And they have clear section 1. It's got a roof maintenance package. Like it's literally move-in ready. And the only thing is, I mean, someone could put in like maybe some more updated cabinets if they wanted, I guess, if you really wanted to get nitpicky. But it's got granite. I mean, it's a beautiful home. So you can still buy affordable homes here in Benicia. And we've got condos and townhomes. I've got a condo that's coming on the market that's going to be 425. So there's still some mid-range homes. We do have some luxury homes that are up in the hills. There's a community called Water's End, and it's kind of where the Carquinez wraps around, and it's kind of where the water ends, and then this community is kind of up on the hill. So some of these homes do have some water views. Some of them they're just at the end of the water, so that's why they live in that community. But I mean, you've got mega 36 to 4,000 square foot homes, huge lots, and then you've got just kind of that's where you find big. If you need big and space and that kind of thing, that's where we have those homes. But what is very cool is that you have a lot of history here. So if I was coming to Benicia, one thing I want to know is it was actually the state capitol. We have a state capitol building here on our first street. So back in the mid 1800s, it was the second capitol. Vallejo was actually first, and then they realized that Vallejo wasn't suitable, so they moved it to Benicia, and then they ended up moving it out permanently to Sacramento. So we actually have like for Instagrammable stuff. I mean, I just feel like you could go down and you could see the Capitol building. You can walk through it. It's got tons of rich history. We have lots of vintage Victorian homes that are down in the First Street area, and some really cool like mid-century modern type stuff down there. So yeah, we've got a mixture of all kinds of different homes. I mean, Vallejo really is the mothership for craftsmen, and like that, and Victorian. There's a huge Victorian area on Sacramento Street in Vallejo that actually has tons of Victorian homes and things. But Benicia specifically has an array of all kinds of different kind of like mid-century modern and just modern homes. So yeah.
I love it. It sounds like there's something for everybody. And I love
Yeah,
learning
there is.
because it's like I'm in history class. It's so cool. I did not know that it was a previous capital. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then like, I know in Sacramento, we're kind of in a mixed market. Some houses, some of our listings are getting multiple offers, some are sitting, it just depends on the condition and what
Yeah.
else is available. If somebody wants to make an offer there, what does a winning offer look like right now in your area?
So it's kind of twofold question here. So because obviously we know any home that's sitting on the market. So our average days on market here are actually like in the 50-day range. So if you see something sitting like 40, 50 days over in Contra Costa, you're like, what the heck? Because the days on market over there are like 30. So that is where if you're in Solano County, Benicia, Vallejo, Fairfield, Vacaville, this area of Solano County, you can expect 50 days on market, and that's not where people are freaking out. It's just people are taking their time here, and the price ranges are a little bit different, and our loan limits are a little bit different than Contra Costa. So a winning offer, if a home just comes on the market and it's priced accordingly, it's priced close to the comps. You can expect to see maybe an offer or two on it. If you see a home that's priced well below what the comps are, expect to see multiple offers. So right now, sellers are kind of getting savvy and saying, we're not going to chase the market. If the home is worth 800,000, we're not going to put it on the market at 800,000. We're going to put it on the market at like 725 because we want to drive traffic to it. So any home that you're seeing that is priced like almost too good to be true, it almost is. So they're doing that as a pricing strategy so that way that you're getting multiple offers on a property. So you need to make sure you're coming in at a fair market value for most of those homes. But if something's been sitting for a while, I mean, you can write a winning offer at asking and sometimes even asking for your closing costs to be covered. So, I mean, I know that sellers are getting a little frustrated in our area because their home is not, flying off the shelf like it was in 2020. And there's a few sellers that I think are still living in that space when really we have to get to a place of saying we're at a higher interest rate, the market is normalizing and it has to normalize. I mean, we kind of hit a ceiling. I don't know if you guys felt that way in Sacramento, but we definitely hit a ceiling here where we had people paying $200,000 over appraised value in 2020 for homes, that weren't worth that amount. So now we're seeing a correction period of that, but it's not that we're in a housing crash here. It's not like we're seeing the market is totally flopped. We're just in a normalized market, which I think is a really healthy thing. So how we're explaining it for buyers, you want to get a winning offer, you need to come in with your best foot forward and it all kind of is based off of how that listing is first launched. So are they launching it? Are they overpriced to begin with? Are they really close to the vest on comps, or did they price it under market? So that's how we're kind of able to guide our buyers on how to actually make a winning offer. And for our sellers, it's the same thing. Get in front of pricing. So a lot of our sellers are finally getting with the program and saying, we're going to go ahead and just drive traffic to it. And if as long as we can get eyes on the property, as long as it's presented in the right light, even if it's a fixer, as long as you're just presenting it as here, you're getting to see what it is. We're seeing things move. I had 16 listings here in the last like 30, 40 days. And we only have a handful of those left. So
Awesome.
things are moving. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we ask tell our clients like what would be an offer price that you'd be willing to offer today, but that you wouldn't be like upset if you didn't get it tomorrow. Or like you said, putting your best foot forward because we don't always know that information could change. Like we have no offers, but now we have offers, and then it's hard to guide sometimes
Right.
So put your best foot forward. If you are care, but sometimes we'll say if you aren't worried about it, offer lower and see what happens,
Right.
if you're not going to be disappointed, that's,
Yeah.
totally fine too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then what do most buyers want right now in your market? Like commute time, schools, like what do you feel like people are looking for? I know obviously it varies, but what are you seeing, I guess, a commonality
Well,
in buyers right now?
you know what we primarily have when we were looking at kind of the sales that we've done this year, we are realizing that we have a lot of relocation. And one of that is just kind of just within our local area. It's not necessarily that they're relocating out of state, but we have for all kinds of different reasons. I've got clients that are leaving the Benicia area and moving across the bridge because they commute 30 to 45 minutes every day, but they're paying a bridge toll and the bridge toll is now higher. So they're like, so I don't have to pay, 12 to $24 in bridge toll every day. I just want to get across the bridge. So that's one thing to think about with Benicia, that if you're someone that is going to be commuting into the city, or if you're going to be commuting somewhere else, when you live in Benicia, we do have a ferry that's in Vallejo. Vallejo is just 10, 15 minutes away. So you can take the ferry and have a nice ride over to San Francisco if you're a commuter, which a lot of people do that. But we don't have a BART system here in Benicia, so that you'd have to drive across one of our bridges to get to the BART station. So we're starting to see that some people are, if they commute, that they're moving out of Benicia to get closer to one of those commuter spots. Or we're seeing that people then are moving actually out your way and a little bit further. And it's either because of family, or a lot of the baby boomers are downsizing right now. Benicia was notorious for being like an older town. It had kind of an older demographic, and it was by the water, and there wasn't a lot to do here back in the day. So even though it's one of the safest towns around, I mean, it really is Pleasantville, USA. I just love it. I mean, at any point in time of the day, you can see people out walking their dogs or going for runs, and kids walking to school. And I mean, our crime rate is very, very low. So that's something to know about Benicia. It's a very safe town. But when you're talking about having an older demographic of people, and we have a lot of double, two or tri levels or split level homes, we're seeing a lot of people are moving and they're downsizing and they're saying, you know what, I don't need to be where the school system is the best, where Benicia has great schools. So people are moving to get maybe more bang for their buck on the outskirts of certain towns and things. So yeah, I don't even remember your question. What was your question?
I know we asked what most new buyers want in your market. Like,
Yeah,
what is
so
it
yeah,
really?
so
Yeah.
so that's what we're seeing for in terms of like people kind of like going out of the area. We're doing a lot of relocation this year, but people that are coming into Benicia, we're seeing a lot of young families now. So back in the day, it used to be kind of a baby boomer town, and maybe people were just starting some families, or then now it's kind of grown into an older town, and we're starting to see that a lot of young families are kind of coming in. So people are coming into Benicia because I think of the safety aspect and the school system, and the affordability. Because if you just go across the bridge into Contra Costa, then the prices shoot up 30% higher. And so it really, I mean, Contra Costa, I do tons of business over there, and I do tons of business in Napa. And so both of those areas are very different depending on like what you're looking for. Napa also has some really great schools, but Contra Costa is just a bigger town, so there's more to do. Where Benicia, when you're moving here, you're intentional about wanting to be like a water town. You want to be on the water. You're into water sports, or you want to have that small town feel. So that's what we're seeing people move into Benicia for.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's interesting to see what buyers are wanting or the commuting thing. I mean, that makes sense. People are leaving that town sometimes to be closer to BART and all of that.
yeah.
And then what keeps you there? Like, why did you choose to live there? What keeps you
Yeah.
there? I guess we'll end with that question.
Okay.
So we gotta get to our
Well,
appointments.
you know what? What brought me back was family, and what keeps me here is family. I now have built such a tight knit community here. It's kind of funny wherever I go, people say, "Are you running for mayor? Are you running for mayor?" Because I am very much so involved in all things Benicia. I'm like the biggest rah rah Benicia person. I started a series called Living Local. And so I go out into different gyms or to different businesses, and I highlight their businesses, and I try the different gyms for a whole week, and I get to showcase our town and all these different small businesses. I'm really passionate about small business owners. I think that's what makes Benicia so beautiful is we have a lot of mom and pops and not a ton of like huge corporations that are here. So it makes just that small town feel. It brings life into the community. So what keeps me here is knowing that I've got relationships that are so deeply rooted in the community that I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. I love being able to go out to our farmers market on Thursday evenings and walk with my family, and see everyone, see all the different businesses and patrons and people I know in the community, and then be able to, I mean, I live, work, and play here. So it's somewhere I don't necessarily know. My husband says that maybe if we go somewhere, we might move to Bali one day. I think that might be the only place I might consider because Benicia really has my heart. So, yeah, if you ever come, please come say hello. I will take you to lunch, and I'll show you all the fun eateries, and we can just eat our little foodie hearts out.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Thank you so much. We'll give her a round
Of
of applause. Thank
course.
you for being here and just giving us all the insight into Benicia. And we'll make sure, yeah, if you have Benicia questions, she's your gal. So thanks for
Yes.
being with me.
Of course. Thanks. All right. We'll talk
Bye.
soon. Bye.